Hello everyone, welcome back to the Roaming Super build series. If you're new and don't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to make a build for each and every roaming super that Bungie decided to buff. And in this video, you guys voted for Nova Warp. So let me explain what this build can really do. You are going to leech off of enemies that will grant you tons of class ability energy, and you're also going to spawn in tons of void souls that will weaken targets, and as they are weakening them, you're going to be getting a boatload of grenade and melee energy, and also spawning in tons of void breaches and orbs of power. And last but not least, you're going to be getting your Nova Warp extremely quickly. What's also cool about this build, you do not need an exotic for this build because we are using this legendary auto rifle that has these two certain perks that will benefit for this build. I would greatly appreciate it if you hit that like and sub button. And without further ado, let's get right to this leeching weakened warlock build. To start off, I'm going to show you guys what exotic you're going to need to put for this build. This is an exotic gauntlet called the BRIARBINDS. So this exotic will make your void souls last 55% longer on the battlefield, and you can also interact with the void soul. And as you interacted with the void soul, it will last up to 25 seconds on you, which will allow you to redeploy the void soul again. So I'm going to be showing you guys a loop for you to generate basically infinite amounts of void souls if you play the cards right. And let's just say that void soul were to get a kill, it would grant increase in damage resist for that void soul, and it would also increase its damage. So the maximum amount of damage you can be able to get for the void soul is 100%, and for the damage resist it's 50%. But mostly for the damage resist, it's mainly towards PvP. But for us, we're mainly focusing on the increase in damage because we do have a fragment that will make enemies explode that will tie to our void souls. So whenever a void soul were to get a kill, it would make that target explode. So let me guys show you how you can be able to produce tons of void souls. So you're first going to want to activate your class ability. So in this build, we are using the healing rift. So once you activate that, be sure to shoot an enemy for the void soul to go to that target. And then afterwards, try to generate tons of class ability energy, and once you have your rift back, activate it and you get another void soul, and then shoot another target for that void soul to chase that target. Once your second void soul leeches to that target, grab the first void soul you summoned and then shoot, collect, shoot, collect, shoot, collect. You can also poop out 2, 3, even 4 void souls, but that's kind of overkill. But if you do want to do that, you can actually do that. It's just a lot of running back and forth for those void souls. All right, let's head to the Void Walker subclass. For the super, of course, this is a Nova Warp build, so go for Nova Warp. But if you don't know what it really does, because not many people really use it because it's kind of let me show you how it works. Once you activate Nova Warp, it will unleash a void explosion around you, and then once you're roaming in your super, you can be able to teleport with your heavy attack button. But as you're teleporting, it will consume some super energy. And also, if you were to be in midair, you can basically spam your teleporting button and you can just keep dashing forward without any dropping fall off. And if you were to use your light attack for Nova Warp, it will unleash a deadly void eruption. And if you were to hold down onto that trigger, it will charge it up and it would make the enemies around you volatile. So your main goal is to basically just hold your light attack button to charge it up to make everything around you volatile. Let's head to the abilities. For your class ability, you're gonna have to go for Healing Rift because we are gonna tie this to our aspect. We'll get onto that later, but for now, be sure to go for Healing Rift. Onto the Void Grenade. You can choose any grenade you like, but in the gameplay that you are seeing, I chose to go for Scatter Grenade. Be sure to keep that in mind that for the lowest base cooldown for a grenade, you're going to be getting it more often. So the lower the base cooldown is, the more you get it. So keep that in mind. Onto the aspects. The first one you got to go for is Feed the Void, because this one will give you Devour if you were to get kills with your Void abilities. So that could be either your grenade, melee, super, or your Void Soul. But if you were to run Devour on Hunter and Titan, you're only going to be getting 100 HP. So Warlock benefits for Devour. And you're also going to be getting a little bit more grenade energy compared to using Devour on Hunter and Titan. To make this build even work, the next aspect you're going to want to put is Child of the Old Gods. Whenever you were to cast your Rift, it would create a Void Soul. When you damage a target with any weapon, the Void Soul will fly towards them and it will drain them, damaging them and also weakening them, which is a plus 15% increase in damage to that weakened target. And also, when a target is being drained, you're going to be granted grenade and melee energy because we are using a healing rift. But if you are choosing to use an empowering rift, instead of it giving you grenade and melee energy, it's going to be giving you health. So that's why I told you to stick with healing rift, so it can give you that additional grenade and melee energy. And if you were to kill a target that is being drained by your void soul, it would also give you class ability energy. So you can either let the void soul suck them off, pause, to give you grenade and melee energy if you are focusing on that, or if you care about producing more class ability energy, you can just kill them while they're being sucked off by the void soul. Damn, the void soul is kind of sus. Kind of hot, to be honest. What? So in total, we are going to be getting 4 fragments, and let's head to those. For the first fragment, go for Echo of Harvest. This thing ties to your void souls mostly because whenever you defeat weakened targets, it will create an orb of power and also a void breach, but sadly, you'll get -10 intellect. And the cooldown between activating this fragment is 10 seconds. The second fragment ties to your abilities, specifically our void soul, but mainly our abilities, but it's called Echo of Expulsion. Void ability final blows causes targets to explode, and you would also get +10 intellect. So when your void soul drains enemies and gets that kill, that enemy will explode. The third fragment is Echo of Persistence, which ties to our void auto rifle and also our abilities, because it will increase the duration for overshield, devour, and invisibility. But sadly, you get -10 recovery. And the last fragment you're going to need to put is Echo of Instability, which ties to your void weapons if you were to get a grenade kill. So if you were to get a grenade kill, it will grant volatile rounds to your void weapons. And if you do have volatile rounds on your void weapons, you will have the ability to stun anti-barrier champions. And you're also going to be getting +10 strength. So this fragment will give you an overshield if you were to get a kill with our void auto rifle. We'll get onto that later. Let's head to the weapons. For the kinetic weapon, you can choose any special weapon you like. But for me, I really wanted to try out the Mountaintop because it does have an origin trait which enhances your grenade energy. And the origin trait is called Indomitability. Final blows will grant grenade energy when playing on a light subclass or melee energy when playing on a darkness subclass. So we are playing on a light subclass, which is either arc, solar, or void. So we are going to be getting +5% grenade energy if we were to get kills with the Mountaintop. And on the third column, go for auto-loading holster. All you would have to do is shoot and then swap to your other weapon, wait a few seconds, and then it would automatically reload it from reserves. On the fourth column, I would recommend going for either Vorpal or Recombination, but in the gameplay you are seeing, I am using Recombination. Elemental Final Blows will increase the damage of this weapon's next shot, so that Elemental Final Blow could be your abilities. And for the weapon mod, you can choose any weapon mod you like, but for me, I would like to go for Synergy just to give us an orb of power, but we have a set chance to, if you were to get a kill. And the main weapon you're going to want to put on your energy weapon is this void auto rifle called Reckless Oracle, because this is the only auto rifle in the game that could run Strategist and Repulsor's Brace. So that's why I chose to put this auto rifle for this build, because this is mainly a class ability build. So by having Strategist, whenever we get kills with this weapon, it would give us class ability energy. And if we were to activate our class ability, it would briefly improve this weapon's stability. And on the fourth column, go for Repulsor's Brace. If you were to defeat a void debuff target, it will grant you an overshield. So the debuff could be weaken and volatile, or suppression, but in this build we're mostly going to be weakening and also getting volatile kills. I really like the origin trait for the Garden of Salvation weapons, and the origin trait for this auto rifle is called Photo Inhibition. This weapon will deal increase in damage to combatant shields and also targets with overshields. If you were to break their shield, it would blind them, aka disorient them. But if you were to break a shield matching its damage type, so this is void, so if you were to damage a void shield, it would also disorient nearby combatants. Disorienting is kind of like blinding them in a way where they can't be able to shoot you for a certain amount of time and they'll just like walk around looking dumb. But if you don't have this auto rifle, I know this is a raid weapon, not many people really have this. You could also go for Collective Obligation. This is basically like a vampire, it just leeches off debuffs. So this is also another raid weapon as well, but this exotic is pretty good for this build as well. Or you can choose any void exotic in the game. A lot of people have Graviton Lance, so choose that if you like. like. You can also use the new shotgun in the game that just came out called Slayer's Fang. This also has repulsor brace too, so you could use that as well. Onto the power weapon. I chose to put this void bow called the Leviathan's Breath just because I really wanted to stun unstoppable champions. That's pretty much it, but here's what it does. This is a heavy bow and the draw speed for this bow is extremely slow. But if you do have the catalyst, you would get Archer's Tempo, which will decrease the time of your draw time if you were to get a precision hit, and it would also maximize the quiver size. And if you were to fully draw the Leviathan's Breath, it would make enemies volatile, and it will also knock combatants back. And here are the seasonal artifacts if you guys are interested. New ones came out and most of them are tying to Void, so that's what I'm using. Onto the stats. Here's what you need to focus more. Your main priority is to go for recovery to reduce your class ability because this is tied to Warlock. And your second priority is resilience, which will give you a 30% damage reduction if you have tier 10. And here's the full build layout if you guys would like to see it on screen. The dim loadout link will be in the description if you guys are interested with this build. So this build is extremely good when it comes to Contest of Elders and also Onslaught. Basically, with just any activity that has a boatload of enemies, this build is good for that. All right, let me show you guys the gameplay loop for the build. Your goal first is to activate your Healing Rift to spawn in a Void Soul. And then afterwards, make that Void Soul hit a bunch of targets to give you grenade and melee energy. And as you're getting kills with your weapons and abilities, you are going to be getting your class ability back. Activate your rift again to spawn in another Void Soul, so you'll be having two now. And then once both of those Void Souls are spawned, go to your first Void Soul and collect it and reproc it again, which is hitting another target, and go for the second one and just basically go back and forth. And as you're doing that, your super will be ready. Activate Nova Warp and be sure to hold your light attack button to unleash volatile around you, and rinse and repeat basically. If you guys did enjoy this video, I would greatly appreciate it to hit that like and sub button because we are so close to the very end of the roaming super build series. And if you guys are enjoying it, let me know in the comments. So there is only two supers left, which is the Winter's Wrath and also Spectral Blade. So it's a 50-50. So be sure to choose what build you like to see next for the second to last episode of this series. The community poll is live right now, so be sure to check it out and vote which super you like to see next. It better not be Spectral Blades, I swear to God. If you guys would like to see another build, click on the right side of the screen. You won't regret it.